This is Don't Starve Together, an uncompromising wilderness survival game where you befriend creepy looking bunny men, fight sentient chess pieces with a slab of meat, and, try to not starve. Obviously, there's more stuff in the game, but what I like the most about Don't Starve Together is actually something that it lacks. Goals. Don't Starve Together never tells you what you're supposed to be working towards. You can obtain the rarest items, beat all the bosses, make a gigantic base, and survive for hundreds of days, but the game never ends. After realizing this, the gameplay in Don't Starve Together suddenly loses its initial charm. I mean, what's the point of picking up stacks of grass and exploring the world if this all ends in death, right? I think this dynamic within DST helps explain why we're fundamentally drawn to things like sports or video games in the first place. They offer a degree of existential certainty that the real world often cannot. When you're playing a game of basketball or fighting people in Team Fortress 2, you never have to question your intended objective because it's already been very clearly defined. You just have to figure out how to get there. But in life, there is no universally agreed upon end goal. Only the collective understanding that we're all going to die someday. So, the $1,000,000 question, what should we do? Religious and spiritual perspectives say that we should follow X rules and do Y things and everything will work out. Nihilism says that nothing we do in life matters. Hedonism and materialism argue that the only goals worth pursuing in life are those that give us pleasure and happiness. And existentialism ambiguously says that we should do whatever we personally find worthwhile. Each of these mindsets are right and wrong in their own ways, and in truth, we constantly waver between them. We experience wonderful things like a beautiful sunrise or falling in love, and we're quick to believe that there's meaning and order to the world. But we just as quickly experience the shitty and unjust parts of life that lead us to periods of disappointment and despair. Practically, we act on self-interested desires for money, fame, and Chipotle, but we can never get enough. In an abstract sense, we can respect the idea of authenticity and dedicating ourselves to some noble goal, but it seems impossible to find our true passion or higher purpose in life. In fact, we can never know how any of our actions and choices are going to affect us in the future, and I think this existential uncertainty can help explain why life can often feel so stressful. It's why we question our prospective college major and worry about the outcomes of upcoming AP tests. It's why we hate unproductive workdays, doubt ourselves, and die just a teeny tiny bit inside when we see our peers accomplish things that we didn't. So again, we ask, what should we do? I don't know. There is no right answer. As BoJack Horseman adequately put it,
the truth is none of it matters, and the truth is it all matters tremendously. It's a wonder any of us ever get out of bed at all. And yet, we get out of bed.
Somehow this all has to do with Don't Starve Together. I don't know what happened. Okay, well, it does because DST reminded me of all these things. But then I played the game with a friend and I realized something. None of this stuff matters. I wasn't worrying about my cosmic place in the universe, the AP Lang reading due at midnight, or any other random bullshit going on in my life. All that I cared about was being present and making the most out of that shared moment with my friend. It wasn't just then either. Watching a movie with my family, playing cards or getting food with friends, getting playing time in basketball games. These were all moments with other people so full of meaning that they made me completely forget about pretty much everything else on my mind. This isn't to say that we should use friends as a hedonistic distraction from the cruel reality of life. I'm just saying that we're so focused on finding individualistic meaning that we tend to forget just how important others are to that very goal. I'm reminded of the play Waiting for Godot, where two characters, Estragon and Vladimir, stand around a tree and wait for a man or thing called Godot to show up.
Let's go. We can't. Why not? We're waiting for Godot.
Oh, yes.
The play's absurdist and religious themes are commonly talked about, but what stands out to me are the characters' relationships with one another. It feels like a big part of why Estragon and Vladimir can tolerate waiting so long for Godot is because of the other's presence. As they wait, the pair argues over trivial subjects, contemplates suicide together, and engages in a bunch of random antics. In other words, they find meaning through each other. I don't think this is too dissimilar from life. Alone, it's really easy to dread our existence, worry about outcomes we can't control, and become desensitized to the same experience over and over again. Together, maybe all of that doesn't matter for a moment. Maybe we'll never uncover the secrets of the universe or figure out what to do in life. But you know what? Who cares? At the end of the day, maybe the real Godot was the friends we made along the way.